MassiveCrits here again. Today, I've got what we all have been waiting for. It's going to be a quick start guide for Affliction. But before we get started, guys, if you can go down below, like this video, subscribe. It helps out a lot. Also, check out my channel, get some more content. A whole bunch of stuff on there, some Unholy DK footage, some Affliction lock footage, some season climbs, some skirmishes, some battlegrounds, playing with other YouTubers, a whole bunch of fun stuff to watch. But guys, let's go ahead and get on into talents first. This is where we're going to start. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to go over the two ways you can play Affliction though. I'm going to go through my single target spec that I play regularly, which are most of my arenas, everything like that. And then I'm also going to show you like the battle, or like the RBG spec, like rod spec. Otherwise, they're both perfectly fine. You can play both of them in arenas if you choose to. Rod spec, it's a little bit more iffy. You don't have that single target damage as much, but you are going to have a lot more cleave if you're running with like a Frost Death Knight or something like that. It is a lot more pressure to like if you're in threes. Now, guys, we're going to start off with Malefic Grasp for your single target spec. Just because you're going to get that 25% increased damage to the target whenever you're casting Drain Soul. Now, I don't think people really like this talent, just mainly on the aspect of it's not as good as it used to be. But I still feel like it's the best way to do as much single target damage out of the three first ones as you can, just due to the fact of that if you do ramp up all your dots stacking Unstable Affliction and using Drain Soul, you can literally watch their health fall down. Haunt, I mean, I've heard arguments to use it. I've heard it's good. I've heard it's not good. I personally don't like it. To me, it just is kind of wonky. It doesn't really fit. You kind of have a really hard time with it. It's got that 23-second cooldown. Like, it's just kind of, I don't like it. We're not going to use it. Next, we're going to go Contagion. Just to the fact that when you have Unstable Affliction on the target, you're going to do 15% increase more damage. So with Malefic Grasp, if you do have Unstable Affliction on the target, you're getting technically roughly 40% increased damage to the target. You're going to have Mortal Coil as your next one. You can run Demonic Circle if you like to, just to have mobility. But in my personal opinion, I honestly like Mortal Coil just on the fact of that it's a free 20% maximum health heal on a 45-second cooldown with a 3-second fear. It's instant cast. It's a 20-yard range. It's basically a free range kick that heals you. I mean, what more can you ask in that? Howl of Terror, I mean, yeah. AoE fear, 20 seconds, and for a 40-second cooldown for an AoE fear, or 45-second cooldown for a ranged kick that can heal me for 20% of my maximum health, I'll take the ranged kick. Then we're going to go Phantom Singularity, just because you're going to get more DPS out of Phantom Singularity than Soul Harvest. Yes, Soul Harvest is going to make you do more damage, but Phantom Singularity, you will get more DPS, plus it heals you, so it's self-healing in twos and arenas. That's a really big deal. Not to mention, it is just more applied pressure in general. Alright guys, Dark Pack's pretty straightforward. I mean, Burning Rush and Demon Skin just aren't viable in Arena right now. I mean, you can maybe run Demon Skin, just if you are, maybe if you're with a healer, but truthfully, Dark Pack is just the only really thing you can do for a minute cooldown, for a massive shield. I mean, that's just a stupid decision not to. Alright guys. Service or Supremacy. This one is a really big deal. Service, in my opinion, is much better. You can sack a Soul Shard to get a kick or a sleep on a 1.5 minute cooldown. Or you can have a Doomguard that does more damage for you. Which, we're playing Affliction, so if we look at it, a Fell Hunter actually does just barely under the DPS of a Doomguard. So, service is, my opinion, what you should run. Why would you not want an instant cast kick that also summons a pet that does more damage based off how many dots you have on them, or an 8-second sleep? In my opinion, it's just the right thing to do. Alright guys, the last one here, we're gonna have Siphon Life. I know people say Death's Embrace is better, but in 2s and arenas, Siphon Life in my opinion just gives you a little bit more. It's an extra dot, you get healing back from it, and it's a good fill for the rotation. Not to mention that little bit of extra life, you don't know whether or not that's going to keep you alive or negate enough damage to keep you alive. Death's Embrace, however, I will say, do run Death's Embrace in RBGs. It is much better in the RBG aspect than Siphon Life. Now, with that all being said, that's single target spec. Rot spec. Alright guys, only difference in this entire thing when it comes to Rot spec is you go Wrath and Agony, which allows your Agony to ramp up to 15 stacks, and Absolute Corruption. Because your whole point in Rot spec is to literally run around and just keep your dots on top of people. That's all it is. You just keep your dots on top of everybody, fill, drain life every now and then to get a little bit more pressure, but all you do is play CC train. Now you can possibly run Contagion if you'd like to, just to get that 15% increased damage, but you will find yourself not having enough soul shards to do all of this. So with that being said, you're most of the time running Absolute Corruption. Alright, now let's get to add-ons. Alright guys, the add-ons I mainly use are going to be Gladiator LOS, which if you haven't used that before, basically what it does is it's a verbal call out for any cooldowns that are used, kicks that are used, stuns that are used, anything like that in arenas. It's a really great thing that you don't have to pay attention. You can basically just listen, focus on what you're doing, and that way as long as you're listening, you know what's going on. Nameplate scrolling combat text is what I use for basically combat text. It's a lot easier for me, kind of like it above their head a lot more, it's a lot cleaner. And this is what mostly everybody asks about. It's going to be what my UI is. It's going to be LUI. I can put the link to how you get it in my description. It's not going to be on the Curse client or anything like that. You have to download it from a separate source, put it into your add-ons folder, all that good old school style. It is, however, really simple. Once you put it in there, you just slide it in, it pops up. The configuration for it's completely easy, which I'm about to go into, by the way. And then Binnick UI for LUI you can get from the Curse client, which is basically the little configuration thing that makes it a little bit more spiffy, make it look better, which I will also go through here in about 2 minutes as well. But here we go. So we're going to hit the escape, we're going to click on LUI. Basically when you first install it, it's going to pop up with this screen when you log in. Your whole UI is going to look all wonky, you're not going to know what's going on. You're going to click continue. You're going to go set CV bars, click continue again, set up chat, boom, click continue, pick your style here, classic, dark, class, which I click class because that's what I like, continue, high resolution, low resolution, that's up to you. Whatever you playing, caster DPS, physical DPS, healer DPS, it changes based off whatever it is. Icons or auras and icons. I like the icons only. And then you click finish. It's going to reload. You'll hit escape again. You're going to go to LUI. You're going to go right down here to where it says Binnick UI. You're going to click install. And it's going to pull up the same little window that you had for LUI. continue, click version 3, click continue, whichever one you choose, set up chat, whichever unit frames you like. I like the second one, that's the one you guys mostly ask about. Click continue. Action bars, also completely up to you guys. I think I use the second one, and I configured this little bar right here up. Then we're gonna have tank, healer, physical DPS, all that good stuff, like set up add-ons. You can click set up add-ons, sets all your add-ons for you. Continue, and then finished. And then you go. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to click on this, go to LVUI, go to action bars, because as you can see, my right side action bar is on the mouse over, which usually will be. It fooled me for a minute. You're going to go over to right here on number 4, click the mouse over, it'll come off, click close. And with that being said, guys, we're going to walk over here to one of these dummies, and we're going to do a little rotation video, okay? Alright, guys, here we go for rotation. We're going to do Agony, Corruption, Phantom Singularity, Siphon Life, Unstable Affliction, Summon Infernal, Fell Hunter Summon, Drain Soul. Make sure we keep our dots up. Drain Soul some more. Pop Artifact. Stack Unstable Affliction for burst. Drain Soul afterwards for maximum amount of damage. Yeah, no guys, for real though, that's basically how it works. You're basically going to sit there, keep your dots up on them, get his soul shard stacks going, get some stacks on your artifact, and then when you see the opportunity, you're going to sit there, you're going to pop Fell Hunter, you're going to pop Infernal. Honestly, I personally use Infernal a lot of the time for CC or almost a peel, not really as a burst mechanism. That AoE stun is really nice. And then you're going to stack Unstable Affliction whenever you get the opportunity to, and then on top of it, Drain Soul, so you get that output of damage on top of it. You're going to get really nice damage if you manage to pull that off right, because a lot of the time you'll be able to get about 3 to 4 Unstable Afflictions off. And in PvP, if you look at your honor talents, Rot and Decay, each time you drain Soul, it refreshes the duration of Unstable Affliction, Corruption, and Agony. So your 3 main dots get refreshed every time you drain Soul. It's going to be a really nice thing to have. It's honestly probably great. You get a really nice damage output. There's a lot you can do on it. It's so much fun to play this spec, guys. Now that we've gone through all this fun stuff, we're going to get into about 2 arenas that I have that I really like. They're about 2 to 3 minutes, maybe longer. They were great arenas that I felt I could probably break down for you guys to give you guys a little bit of a, I don't know, insight on what you need to be thinking about, how I played those arenas. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. So let's get to it. Guys, I did also want to go over real quick honor talents for you. I want to say you do run Gladiator's Medallion, unless you are an orc, because then you can get away with running Relentless. I haven't necessarily tried it out yet, but personally I've kind of liked the Medallion thing. I like being able to use Trinket. Second tier here, guys, I go with Mind Quickness just so it's always that increased 6% haste. That way you don't have to worry about being in combat, whether you're getting like whether being attacked or not. You just automatically get that 6% increased haste. The curses, guys, is all situational. Personally, I usually run Curse of Fragility just so that way you get that bonus 20% maximum health decrease. That way when you're bursting, it's a lot easier to kill that target. Essence Drain, that's my personal opinion. I like it. I don't know if it's necessarily what you're supposed to use. I hear Nether Wards a lot of what the time you're supposed to use, especially against casters. I've never really tried it. I don't personally like it. It is a good defensive cooldown. It is a good 5-second spell reflect. Casting Circle, I don't like it. I don't think there's a good play style for it. It's one of those things that it's more of a Destro thing, and they put it into Lock or Affliction, and it's just not it just doesn't work well. Next, Endless Affliction or Soul Shatter. Personally, I like Endless Affliction just on the fact of a lot of the times you're not 100% sure on what you can do and how to, like, whether or not you're going to be an LOS of the target. You have to sit there, you have to ramp up, you have to have play, you have to have potential, you have to set up. Soul Shatter, it takes all of your dots and deals 10% of their total health and shadow damage and gives you % increased haste. Granted, you gain a soul shard, but you also take all your dots away, so you lose all your damage. You have to ramp your dots back up. Agony has to restack. I mean, it's just one of those things that in my opinion, you lose pressure off of it. And then we get to the final one, Rotten Decay. This one I feel like is an obvious pick because it refreshes your 3 main damaging dots on top of your main self-healing ability, and it also does a really good bit of damage, especially if you're spec'd into where you have Malefic Grasp and Contagion. You have Unstable Affliction up on the target, you have all 3 of your dots up, you have Phantom Singularity up, you have 2 Fell Hunters attacking the target, maybe an Infernal as well. With that being said, you're getting a lot of damage here, especially if the target then decides he's going to LOS mid-chain. If he LOS's mid-chain, not only do you continue casting Drain Soul, but you're also going to keep refreshing those dots so that way whenever your chain does stop and he is LOS, your dots are almost sitting there at full stack still because of the fact of you're sitting there and he can't, you don't see him, but you can't refresh your dots, but because of Rotten Decay, it has added that 1 second over and over again. So, that's Honor Talents, guys. Let's get down to arenas. Alright guys, so this arena, let me explain how this worked. It ended up being Resto Shaman Lock versus Mistweaver Ellie Shaman. Now this is a really hard counter to me. Not on the aspect of how much damage is done and like the lack of mobility and stuff like that, but the amount of purges and cleanses that come from this comp on the other side. The Shaman can basically purge everything that I have off of him, like you just saw there. And then the Monk can cleanse what's left. So that being said, it was a really hard match for us to win here. Hence why, instead of having 2 arena videos in this ending clip, it's going to be 1, because then the video would have pushed over half an hour, and I'm not doing that, guys. I'm not making you guys sit here for an hour. This is supposed to be a quick start guide. Not something you sit here for over half an hour, and now you don't know what you're doing. Here we go. Either way, this arena right here was almost 7 minutes long. Now, the reason behind that is literally the matchup took that long because of how much pressure both teams had. An Ellie Shaman, as you can see, doesn't put out a lot of damage. I have no burst damage as an Affliction Lock. I have very hard, I have to ramp and set my damage up. And we're going up against a Mistweaver. I mean, it was gonna be a really hard match either way. Truthfully, I didn't think I was honestly gonna win this. But, you know, I stuck with it, did what Afflictions do, sat there, rotted their team down, and we ended up being able to kill one of them. Now, with that being said, as you can see, all I've been doing this match is causing as much pressure as I can, making sure I keep as many as my dots as I can up, without them getting cleansed off. Now, with that being said, there's not much I can do here besides keep my dots up because they're doing a really good job at LOSing me, preventing me from ramping dots at any given point. And I mean, it's hard. It was a hard match. The Monk was doing a great job at CC. we're sitting here, we're not being able to ramp. The opportunities we do get ramp time, I mean, we get kicked, we're getting CC trained. They say we're a really good team. Sitting roughly 1800 MMR. I mean, it was just a long, hard fought match. I mean, we're sitting here, the shaman's throwing everything he can. I mean, I'm throwing everything I can, but there's just no damage coming out from anybody. Right here, we get an opportunity to ramp up, you know, we're going to do as much as we can. You'll see that once I do get those stacks, I get about 4 stacks and agony on, I start doing a little bit of damage there. Like I said, he's LOSing me behind that pillar, but I'm still getting his damage out, you know. LO are doing a great job at LOSing us right here, so I decided to fall off the ledge to try and counter pressure to get the reset. We end up getting the reset knocked away. This was a really bad move for the shaman here because we end up getting a good bit of damage output on him. The monk goes in. We get dots off on the monk.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me. So alive, make it last forever. Stop in time, yeah, I'm surrendering. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me.
Alright guys, sorry I left you guys there for a little bit, but as you can see it was a little bit of stalemate. You saw we got bubble there. This is when it really starts to get interesting. As you can see, the shaman stays extremely low here. I'm going to ramp up as hard as I can. I'm going to get as much off as possible here. I'm going to start drain souling. I'm going to trinket that. I'm going to drain soul some more to get as many refreshes off as possible. As you can see, continuously gets rolled when he begins to break LOS behind this pillar. But I continue to have drain soul going because I started it before he broke LOS, like I said. Guys, that being said, it then causes him to lose because he runs around the pillar and it still kills him. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this quick start guide, please throw a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Also, I'll post up on the screen to subscribe to my channel along with some other videos for you guys to check out. Thank you again so much for watching, guys. I appreciate everything you guys do for me and all the feedback I do get from these videos. It does make me want to keep making these videos. Along with everything that you guys do say about my videos continues to make me strive to make them better. So thank you guys so much for everything you do, and as always, have a wonderful day.